Ešte raz, dobrý deň.
So hello to everyone. Once again, we apologize for the slight delay due to technical difficulties. So welcome all of you to this panel, which is called Provision of Information to Foreigners. My name is Michaela Dojčinovičová. I'm a lawyer at the Human Rights League, and I will be your guide during this panel. When we are talking about information, most of us may feel that the flow of information or the amount of information is huge, and it is very difficult to guide through them because we have several sources of information. We do not have only media, but we have press conferences, blogs, local newspapers, flyers, etc. When we are talking about providing information to foreigners, the situation changes. If you look at if foreigners do receive, if foreigners receive a lot of information during the pandemic situation, we can think that it's not like that. We may think that they do not have a lot of information, so there may be some lack of information. What kind of information is necessary for foreigners in Slovakia will be part of this panel. First, we will hear some testimonies of some foreigners living here in Slovakia. I'm really happy that two of our cultural mediators and from Bratislava and Banská Bystrica and also from Košice will join us. Barseghyan from Bratislava, Eleonóra Ďurišinová from Košice, and Yaroslav Lysenko from Banská Bystrica. So first, I would like to ask the first cultural mediator to tell us if she thinks that she receives enough information in Slovakia. Anna, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. So, what do migration and information have in common? Let's see. It's possible to picture a world nowadays without their fast flow and spreading, but how not to get lost in this all information? So migration and information are in mutual comparison, let's say in the same boat. And if in case of media gets whatever it needs, like human stories, reports, etc. What about opposite? Why migrants need practical information, and do they get that information in appropriate way during their life stay in Slovakia? Actually, can anybody from us imagine himself without an access to information nowadays? Probably, of course, some of us have some hidden wishes to leave everything behind, to leave our electronic devices and go somewhere, being lost in some kind of island, breathing fresh air, having mountain or sea view, or caring for plants, etc. But even for that, we need some kind of information. How to buy a property, how get to an island, how to buy a ticket, how to care about like water, heating, just some important living conditions, etc. And as we see, it's kind of information that without we cannot survive there. And this can be really romantic for people who are coming to a new country, but it's really not practical, and they do need theoretical part as well. So the same is for migrants. They do need to be familiar with all steps they have to take during their stay in Slovakia. So in September 2020, in the frames of KapaCITY project, Human Rights League held kind of discussion, online discussion with focus group. It should be, of course, offline, but we couldn't manage it because of COVID crisis. And this focus group discussed some kind of difficulties in information field. And we separated some points, some important points. I will just tell some of them. So first one, very important one, language issue. Lack of English, Russian support, I'm mentioning English and Russian because of, English is international language and Russian is kind of language for a lot of Russian-speaking people in Slovakia. So not enough developed volunteering system. Why I'm mentioning it because I realized that lots of migrants would like to be volunteering in different organizations, but they don't know how to get there. We discussed about need of creating one general website, which could be really a great help to people who are searching for information. Of course, if it could be supported by government, and a need of handbook that could be a perfect guide once a migrant foreigner enters to Slovak Republic. I will very shortly address to each of them. Talking about language, when we're talking about mutual communication language, of course, it's English and it's accessible all over the world. And there are a lot of people who speak English in Slovakia. You can ask people just passing by what you need, and they are very kind to answer you. But mostly, of course, we need this information in public services. And a lot of people face these difficulties not to get appropriate information, what they need exactly in public sectors. But of course, it's obvious that there is no opportunity to change whole working staff because these people do their job perfectly, and you cannot just tell, you don't speak English, so we're firing you, and it would not be fair or right. So in this case, what we discussed is some kind of opportunity for migrants and people who are living in Slovakia to use their beginning, let's say, first months in living in Slovakia, because they're quite free, searching for a job and just trying to some kind of feeling convenient, comfortable in Slovakia. So they suggest to create or already develop existing volunteering systems, and they do really need information in like job searching, self-employment status information, doctor services, pension, banks, police office, government buildings, etc. So migrants, mostly when they are newcomers in Slovakia, still search for a job, and they are asking questions to each other in social sites. And the great example is Ukrainian community Facebook group, which has more than 60,000 followers, and this group really works. But I know that a lot of foreigners are familiar with two Facebook huge groups, let's say, foreigners in Bratislava and foreigners expats in Slovakia. So one of group has 27,000 followers, another 6,100. Let's say it's quite huge amount for following this kind of a group, but what is necessary to know when we're searching information in this kind of group, we're not getting an appropriate answer. The answer we need really to know, because from 27,000 people, maybe one can answer to your question, and just writing some opinion or some information which is already being transferred from one point to another. So no one is obligated to answer the question, and you even don't know where you are searching the information. So that's why I'm finishing my word with it, that migrants living in Slovakia would find really totally perfect to have one general website where they can find their solution for answers. So this is kind of a, let's say, dream for all of us and newcomers in Slovakia. Let's believe that it can come true. Thank you very much for the opportunity to have a word on this conference, and another cultural mediator for Human Rights League, Eleonóra Ďurišinová, will continue the topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dobrý deň, volám sa Eleonóra.
Hello everyone, my name is Eleonóra. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of your conference. I would like to talk about issues of foreigners which they encounter at the beginning of their journey in Slovakia. I've been living in Slovakia for 7 years, and I can say I went through all the points in terms of integration. I know other foreign nationals who have the same questions as I did. So imagine you came to a different country. You have low or poor language Slovak skills. You found some accommodation, and now you are in this country. And what's next? The first question you have is how to obtain residence permit, and this was the first question, and I could find at the consulate whether the information was not sufficient, or at the immigration police. But no one was able to speak English at the police or the police officers. Okay, the second question is, where could I find work? In the same area of expertise I had when I was in my home country? Can I work with my residence permit? Can I study here as well? Answers to these questions could be found at the immigration police, or could be found in the groups Anna mentioned. But personal experience of a foreigner who shares his or her experiences must not always apply to your case. And the conditions you find themselves in can differ from those of another foreigner. Another question for the foreigner is, how can I open a bank account in Slovakia? And to receive the answer, the foreigner has to go to more branches and find answer and hope that the employees of the bank branch will understand his or her Slovak, or will be able to speak English. Another question, in terms of language, how can I learn Slovak? Can I learn Slovak for free? Okay, so let's imagine we have answers to the questions work related and education, etc. And I am a foreign national, whether it's from EU or a third country. I can be involved in I can be part of the social security system. Is it valid in is my social security valid in Slovakia? If I'm a student, I can pay the social contributions myself. The information really vary from one branch from one office to another. Another important question: if your child is born in Slovakia, what the foreigner should do? Can my child go to school here in Slovakia when it reaches 15 years of age and goes to school? Can my child then continue in Slovakia? So these are the basic questions the foreigners have. The first 1 or 2 years, the laws, of course, can change and the conditions can change. And Maslow's pyramid of needs says or suggests that if I'm ready to find, I have a talent. How can I be active as a foreigner? How can I prosper and develop? And the main question is, where can I find answers to these questions? Because there are many information on the internet, but it's hard to find a specific organization, a specific source of information. And it's important to mention that the pandemic brought many changes, which were also confusing for the people with sufficient Slovak skills. Then the informations were not in a central place. And if I should combine all these questions to one central question, that would be, where can I find answers? Where will I be heard? And this important to create one website which would have all the information, or at least basic information, for a foreigner who came 1 year ago or several months ago, where he could find the answers to his or her questions. Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this conference. Thank you.
Zdravím, počujete ma? No, som Yaroslav Lysenko.
Can you hear me?
Mediators
My name is Yaroslav Lysenko. I'm the culture mediator working in Banská Bystrica. I will talk briefly about my experience as a culture mediator who studies at the Slovak University as well. After my arrival to Slovakia, what helped me, what I missed as to the information provided to foreigners, I came through the program Erasmus+. I went also to Belgium, and I can talk about the experience of foreigners with the provision of information in Belgium. And I can provide you this information so that we can improve here the situation in Slovakia. Before I came to Banská Bystrica, I was looking for information at the university website and the municipality website. It was quite helpful. But what I found was not always useful in general sense. I came here and I found the accommodation with together with different foreigner students, and we were assigned a tutor or some sort of a student who was in charge of foreigners, for foreign students. So I think this was a good basis for a good start. Then I liked the Erasmus Plus program, so I tried it. I went to Belgium. I want to try to study abroad, so that's why I decided to go to Belgium. That I also searched for information at the Belgium University website, and everything was really in line with what was published on the municipality website. They published the information on the expenses for accommodation, expenses for eating out. There was information and contact details of several banks, emergency number, etc. So I knew all the information I needed before going there. Then the university in Belgium contacted the municipality, and I was provided with all the information. And also we were introduced to local firms and potential employers who could work with us in the future, so that we can find some job and get some extra money outside of school. So we were contacted to some local firms, even though I couldn't speak Dutch or French. My name was Yaroslav. I was introduced like that to potential employer. And there was an integration center where a foreigner of any country can go and can ask for something and look for language courses. This is the most important thing, to look for information about language courses. We can tell them how much time we have. They can tell us more information about the duration of each course and the cost of each course. So you can choose from plenty of courses. So this was really easily to navigate through all this information. I spent there 4 months, and I found all this information in 4 months, which was more information than I can find in Slovakia in a year. So what should be implemented from all this experience from Belgium in Slovakia, like Zuzana has already said, foreigners who are students. This is specific groups of foreigners. We have also employees, foreign employees, and entrepreneurs. So if you want to set up a trade or set up a business, these can be all the same people, because several years ago they were also students. So university can join and unite foreigners they should refresh their presentation on their website. I mean, the website of the university. They should add additional information on their website, and perhaps they could use some video that they could download there, or they could put there, so that a foreigner can easily get a picture of how is it like to be in Slovakia. How much money do you need to spend? Whom can you contact in case of emergency? Whom can you contact if you want to find a job? There could be a list of potential employers in Banská Bystrica who could hire students, and some more information about social life, so that we can learn more about the Slovak language, so that we can know more people, more local people, make friendships and meet potential employers. So more a specific plan for students, for jobs. So I really recommend anyone to do this or to go abroad through this Erasmus Plus program, because this is the biggest experience in a student's life, to have the opportunity to go abroad. So I think the municipality of Banská Bystrica, together with the university, could organize a specialized conference where they could develop or talk about a settlement plan for future foreigner students, so that they can have a broader picture on how it works, if they want to stay here or not. So these are the ideas which I saw in Belgium, and they are really efficient and they really work. So I think that this could be adopted by the municipality of Banská Bystrica, because Slovakia, Banská Bystrica, we have all the tools available. We do not need a lot of financial resources, and it's not very time consuming. I think it's possible to implement here. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, the cultural mediators. I'm really happy that that at the end of our interview was an inspiration from abroad about the fact that in Slovakia we can also find inspiration in the activities of municipalities, as we will discuss later in the panel with Knošková from the Marginal Citizens Initiative, with Lucia Gurbáľová from City of Košice, from Zuzana Gajdošíková from Banská Bystrica, and Viera Orichová from the Community Center for Work and Knowledge Mobility in Nitra. And we will also have some examples from abroad and good practices presented by Jan Janoušek and David Beraha from Vienna. And now I would like to give the floor to Dáša to tell us more about how KapaCITY project was active in terms of providing information to foreigners. And thank you for the floor. I have to thank all the previous speakers and culture mediators we worked together within the KapaCITY project. The information package the foreigners need in the first stage, when they arrive to Slovakia, they need to find their way in Slovakia. So thank you very much for much appreciated information, because this words also showed us that if we want to prepare some information package and we want to help the foreigners with integration and finding information, we need to communicate with them and ask them what they need, what are their needs, what information are required, because they can tell us their needs. It's the best when then they tell us the needs. Their needs. Now I would like to go in my presentation through our work with this issue. Okay, so we can start from this slide. So this is just a summary. the KapaCITY project wasn't focused on providing services or information to foreigners. Its main special or area was support of municipalities with integration. So our main goal was not to draft some informational materials, but we wanted to show the municipalities how they could communicate with foreigners and how they can inform the foreigners. We wanted to present some good practices from abroad as well, and the research conducted in cooperation with the Center for Research of Ethnicity and Culture showed that the foreigners didn't use the services offered by a municipality because they do not know about them. They are not aware they exist because they are also not, these services are also not available in English. They have a problem with the official communication. Slovak language is very difficult. It would help if the municipalities would set their own goal in order for the participation to be successful, to get to know the foreigners who live in the municipality, and vice versa, the foreigners should get to know the municipality as well. The good practice with practices from presented yesterday from Brno as well showed us that in Brno they also care about this subject matter, and they, of course, there is no universal form of providing information. It depends on culture, language skills, and community. Of course, there are other factors. So there are many forms of communication which can be employed, and they need to be adjusted to the needs of the situation or the needs of the community. We prepared a few informational materials to show the municipalities how to continue with providing information to foreigners. And I will discuss and I will talk about these now. I would like to mention the cultural mediators as well. You could have seen some of them as they were the speakers before me. And in this project, we worked also with cultural mediators, and this cooperation was a huge success. And the cultural mediators break the barriers. They connect us to the community in terms of language, culture. They all helped us to find the foreigners and to communicate with them. They were an irreplaceable part of our project in terms of drafting the materials for municipalities. They also help with the translations, and they also represent, they were the voice of foreigners. So really, cultural mediators can have great contribution, and also the good practices from Czech Republic also would be great for Slovakia to adopt it. In the KapaCITY project, we were also using a newsletter, and once a month we send the newsletter to foreigners, providing information via email. This newsletter included the news from your region or from your district, where the foreigners could find information from the municipalities, from the offices of the municipality, and some information about cultural events or public affairs in the municipality. The municipalities also took part in preparation of this newsletter. And there were many language versions of the newsletter provided. Another response to the COVID-19 pandemic was an overview of measures and regulations related to COVID-19, which was prepared also in cooperation with municipality, because we had really, because when it comes to providing information or consultancy to foreigners, how the foreigners are doing and how they are affected by COVID-19 in terms of their residence, social security. At first, we provided a general overview, and later, when it was necessary, we focused on specific information related to education and social security. The last overview included information on testing, on vaccination, and these overviews were also published or provided in more language versions, depending on the questions which were relevant in the time being. And at the end, I would like to mention the outcome or the output of the project, considering providing information to foreigners, and this is the welcome package for foreigners. We've mentioned the information and the areas and the topics the foreigners need to manage at the beginning are really plenty, and our package focused on the competencies and tasks of a municipality. What's really unique about this package is that they were prepared also for the in cooperation with municipality. They include information on residents and matters related or applied to all the foreigners, regardless of the region where they want to live. But it also included information on the offices of the municipality and what departments there are, and what is the responsibility of the particular departments. The foreigners could also receive information on various institutions and events where they could attend, or how they can participate in the municipality public affair. These were translated into more languages depending on the number of foreigners living in these districts. The packages will be available in English, in Trnava, in Serbian language as well, in Russian for Košice, and the form and the way of distribution is in the hands of the municipalities, whether they will be printed or they will be available on website of the municipality. I think the next speakers will also tell us more about their way of distribution and managing of this information. Thank you.
If there are any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them. Thank you very much, Dasha. Like you have mentioned, these welcome packages have been prepared for the municipalities that participate in our project, the city of Bratislava, Banská Bystrica and Košice, and Banská Bystrica, but the city of Košice, by its own initiative, has a set of different interesting tools which are quite innovative, thinking out of box, because they can be used as good practice. So I would like to ask Ms. Lucia Gurbáľová, the Vice Mayor of the City of Košice, to present us some of these tools. So the floor is yours. Hello to everyone. I would like to greet you on behalf of the City of Košice and on behalf of the Mayor of Košice. Košice, the city of Košice is quite famous because we have a lot of nationalities and cultures which are interconnected, and many people with different religious beliefs. We are a city really open to foreigners, because in this connection, foreigners need to settle down in our city. That's why we are really open to organize meetings and activities and events in order to facilitate the life of foreigners. We were contacted in order to raise awareness of foreigners in our city, and we decided to do the following thing. On our website, or on the official website of the city of Košice, we implemented or we introduced a small section for foreigners living in Košice. So I would like to present it and to share my screen with you so that you can see it. Okay, everyone can see it, right? Yes, it's working. So, like I have said at the beginning of my speech, Košice has been always prepared itself as a mixture of cultures because it has borders with several countries. Now we are open to Hungarian, Ukrainian culture, but we have a small Vietnamese and Bulgarian community in our city. So it's not surprising to listen to another language in Košice. Since we consider these people as inhabitants of Košice and they see themselves as inhabitants in Košice, we would like to facilitate their life in Košice. People do not come to Košice just for touristic reasons, but we have more and more foreigners who come to study here and to work here. After their arrival, they can face several challenges, and these challenges can be quite tricky. It can be poor knowledge of the Slovakian language or lost in translation when navigating and guiding through the information in our city. That's why we set this website in order to facilitate their life. Here we created a section for foreigners, which should serve as an online communication center and contact center for those who decided to come to Bratislava either to study or to work or to join their family or to find safety. After coming to Košice and after obtaining the residence permit, they become inhabitants of Košice. On this website, they can find more information about several administrative procedures, about the integration process and tips for interaction with communities of other foreigners and with local inhabitants. This website is in the Hungarian, English, and Slovakian language. It was created within the project Integra, with the cooperation with an NGO at the beginning of 2020. We created an information portal in order to raise awareness of the foreigners living in Košice. We are aware that people coming from abroad and want to settle down in Košice, they lack a single unit, a single system of information. So that's why we really hope that this web portal, this web page, could be the first step for people who decided Košice to become their new home. In spring 2020, when we had the first outbreak of the pandemic situation in Slovakia, we created the web page called corona.košice.sk in order to inform them about the measures adopted in Košice. It is also translated into English because we thought of people who do not use Slovakian as their mother tongue. We updated this web page on a daily basis, and we provided to all the inhabitants of Košice the information on how Košice faced the pandemic situation. When we started with the organized sample testing in Košice, we also updated the information about the expected waiting time in sample testing sites. We updated the information on this website according to the information provided by the central government, and we also informed our inhabitants about on how Košice faced the situation. I'm lost in my papers. I apologize. So, we are getting back to the topic. I would like to sum up that even though there are travel restrictions in the Košice, autonomous region, I think that Košice will still remain a place that people will love and like, so that they decide to stay here and live here. So I'm sorry that perhaps it was a little bit chaotic, but we have a lot of activities going on at the same time, so that's why there is some interference, but I think that I said what I wanted to tell you. So thank you very much for giving me the floor. I greet you. I would like to greet all the participants, and I think that we will be able to adopt good steps and measures for all foreigners and people coming to our country and to our cities. Thank you very much for your time, because I know that you are really busy. You have a busy schedule in Košice, but I'm really happy that we heard the information about providing information to all the inhabitants in Košice during the pandemic situation as regards the restrictions, sample testing, and also the vaccination plan. Now we will continue with another municipality or with other municipalities, which could be inspirational for us in Slovakia. Now Zuzana Gajdošíková will take the floor, who is the head of the head of the International Affairs and Trade Department in Banská Bystrica, who will present some of the foreigners living in Banská Bystrica, how how foreigners live there, and how the municipality of Banská Bystrica communicates with them. Thank you very much for giving me the floor. I work for the International Affairs and International Trade Department in the city of Banská Bystrica, and I had the honor to join the KapaCITY project as a contact person for foreigners living in Banská Bystrica. I will try to share my screen with all of you. I hope that I can manage to do it. Okay.
Dobre, iba mi prosím dajte znať, že to vidíte.
Please just tell me if you can, if everyone can see it. It's fine. Okay. Thank you very much. So as cultural mediators have already mentioned it, I think each of the municipalities in Slovakia are targeted primarily at the general public, and I think in Banská Bystrica we have to try to facilitate life of foreigners who decided to live in our city, and this is not possible without available information of high quality. That's why I have decided to share with you some of our experience as regards the exchange of information and the system of exchange of information, how we try to infiltrate and get to know the foreigners living in our city, and how we would like to share our information with them. What I liked about yesterday, the mayor of Bratislava, Mr. Valo, told that this was a groundbreaking project, the KapaCITY project, and I think this is a good characterization. The groundbreaking character of this project is really marvelous. I think that even though it is 2021, still we are searching, we are looking the ways on how to live, coexist with foreigners in our cities. The Center for the Research of Ethnicity and Culture in 2018, they did a study, and also in Banská Bystrica, and they came to the conclusion that the foreigners are not visible to us, but many of us know at least one foreigner. So that's why we decided to raise awareness and to promote information given to foreigners in order to, and we also want to analyze their environment and analyze the contact people have with foreigners, and we wanted to set the best flow of information so that we can raise awareness and to improve the information system towards foreigners. We think that this is not possible without collaborating, without working all together, and without knowing each other. So if we want to identify the problems and the issues in Banská Bystrica, first we have to know that it's the municipality of Banská Bystrica and educational institutions, schools, leisure activities, clubs, etc. These are all the partners who undergo and conduct activities towards foreigners, and they also use their contacts that are not visible to us as the municipality of Banská Bystrica. The cultural mediators played a very important role in this sense because they opened new doors, new opportunities for foreigners living in Banská Bystrica. If we are talking about the municipality of Banská Bystrica or about any municipality, as someone who manages the flow of information, I can divide it into three directions. First are press releases in different language versions, then the newsletter that is being published, then the social media. The newsletter was distributed thanks to our partners in the past. Then the creation and developing of mailing lists for those who want to be informed. And lately, we also managed to finish the topic of welcome package flyers for all the foreigners coming to Banská Bystrica to give them information for the first weeks and month of their stay in our city. So this was towards outside. At the same time, we adopted some of the recommendations of the partners of the KapaCITY project. We wanted to create a contact point in our office. Now it's me who is the contact point for foreigners, and my responsibility is to be there available for anyone who is looking for any practical information. And I'm here really willing to help anyone in order to get in touch with educational institutions or universities. So anything that I can help with, I'm really here willing to help anyone who is looking for this piece of information. If I can give you any statistical data, why foreigners approach me, and I think that people approached me in the past and are approaching me nowadays because of many practical issues, because many things are not to be found in the English language. In the English language, everything is in Slovak regarding taxes, health issues. Where can I find a general practitioner? I think this is the competence of the autonomous region, but I'm really happy to help, and I'm really happy to look for this information and help these people when they're looking for this information.
Information related to the regulations and similar information were also required, and the third part of the information or of persons who provide information are cultural mediators who, even after completion of the project, will stay partners with them, because I think they are a really great help. Talking about information for foreigners, I would like to mention an approach we developed in Banská Bystrica. Well, not only in Banská Bystrica, but I'm really happy about it. And being that apart from the information for the foreigner on social media website and in foreign language, of course, we targeted also the local population who do not have maybe the access to such things which are common to us, but he's a neighbor of a person who meets foreigners. So we contacted them and asked them, do you know, if you know a foreigner who could benefit from this information, please let him or her know and give him our contact details. And we saw that this form of providing information was interesting for some of the people, and we have the first interested people who share this information with their neighbors or other people they meet. These are just some examples of what I mentioned earlier. So the leaflets dropped it by the partners were published on our website. Visit banskabystrica.sk. Here I would like to say that foreigners in Slovakia consider themselves visitors of the city, and sometimes maybe we think we have enough information in English or in other languages, but these are not information they really need. As Eleonóra and Anda mentioned, these are completely different information the foreigners really need. The website of Banská Bystrica was not yet translated into English, but we have this partner website, Visit Banská Bystrica, where if you click on the information tab, you will find this newcomer's guide with information if you want to be more than just a visitor. These are the leaflets and the flyers. Welcome to Banská Bystrica. They were printed in the last couple of days, and we want to distribute them to the places where the foreigners was the first point of contact of foreigners, so the immigration police and other officers. This is our newspaper, where you can see that they cover also people coming from abroad. The next steps we want to take is the integration of foreigners into the executive powers of the municipality and executive bodies, and they were already invited, but most of the meetings are held online, so it's not a success yet, but we wish to integrate them in the meetings of advisory bodies and councils or other expert groups who directly participate in the development of policies. We would also like to create a pool where they be all gathered and they could get the information on public affairs, and this pool of information would be some kind of assistance for us in case we are in contact with a foreigner and do not speak the language he or she has as a mother tongue, or maybe if a person from the country is more appropriate to communicate with him. And we also want to provide more comprehensive information on education, ordinances, social policies, taxes, etc., which are published on public forums, but they are often all available only in Slovak English, and they refer to articles or laws which are again only in English, in Slovak. So the feeling that every piece of information we want to share with the citizens of Banská Bystrica needs to be translated into other languages according to the languages of people living in Banská Bystrica, and I believe the cooperation will be even more supportive and facilitated. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm ready to answer your questions. Thank you.
Ďakujem veľmi pekne pani Gajdošíkovej, že okrem situácie v meste.
Thank you very much for providing some information about this current situation in Banská Bystrica, and I really like that you also introduced the point of contact and the municipality office, and I'm also happy that you are focused on more actions which will come after the completion of the project, and to follow up on the good practices in Slovakia, I will give the floor to Viera Orichová from our partner from the KapaCITY project, who is also who works for the Community Center for Work and Knowledge Mobility in Nitra, and is a specialist in the rights of foreigners and the legal assistance provided to foreigners. Thank you very much for the introduction. At this conference, I would like to introduce to you the Community Center for Work and Knowledge Mobility in Nitra. I will show my presentation with you.
Vidíte? Áno, vidíme.
Dobre, počkajte, len ja ešte musím... Beginning. Dobre. Dobre, ďakujem pekne. Takže...
Thank you. I would like to say a few words to our way of operation of our community center in Nitra, which is the first center and I think the only center in Slovakia which is supported by the municipality and is specialized in integration of foreigners at local level. Our center was formed in 2019, but the idea of establishing such a center goes back to 2018 when there were many foreigners coming to Nitra who came here as foreign workers, and the municipality started to realize the need of their integration in and the need of participation in the public affairs. In 2019, we took some steps to form this center, and the municipality of Nitra was initiated this project of the creation, the formation of this center, and in 2019 the community center was born. The main goals of the project are to support social inclusion of foreigners with temporary or permanent residence in Nitra. It's also to overcome barriers in terms of coexistence of foreigners and citizens, and also to create a platform of organizations and individuals aimed at preparing a strategy of Nitra for social inclusion. We also came with a few activities of this project. The first point of contact service is the first project. Language classes for foreigners, including also intercultural learning, leisure activities and volunteers. Then making people, the public, aware in order to reduce the xenophobia in the community. Well, the most significant step was the formation of the points of first contact, which were formed in 2018, and the workers at the point of first contact are at the client center in Nitra, and they provide information for foreigners living in Nitra. Most they work or study here, and they are third country nationals as well as EU nationals, and of course they provide information also to Slovaks who want to employ foreigners and to all citizens of Nitra. This point of first contact is opening hours from 9 to 11 and from 12 to 15 to 3 p.m. But they can contact our center by phone or email, and one should evaluate the way of operation of this point of first contact. We provided information to 123 foreigners, and we provided 260 consultations. So these are the figures from our statistics, and we can see that the foreigners are coming back to our center, and if we provide good information, then the foreigners come back with a different issue they had. And considering the nationality of the foreigners, the most people were from Ukraine and Serbia. Well, this is related to the employment in Slovakia in the automotive industry. So mostly there are Ukrainians and Serbians working there, but we have also Iranians, Russians, and other countries. The Iranians are related to the project of integration of Iranian Christians who came to Slovakia 5 or 6 years ago and are integrated in Nitra, and that's why Iraq is also one of the mostly represented countries. The foreigners have temporary residence for education or work purposes, but also foreigners with permanent residence visit us, or we also provide information to EU nationals who want to have registered residence. The forms of provided informations in our project are individual consultations at the point of first contact, but we also want to contact other foreigners living in Nitra, and we provide them information using on a website where they can find up-to-date information considering the public affairs in Nitra and other activities we provide. And we also they can also find more information on residence and other aspects of life of a foreigner in Slovakia. So we have entered into cooperation agreement with the International Migration Organization, and this is they can get to this website through our website, where they can find legal information regarding their residence and other aspects of life in Slovakia. We've also drafted or tailored booklet for foreigners, where they can find information about Nitra, about residence. The booklet was translated into 2 languages, so it's available in Slovak, English, and Russian. And the website is also translated and available in 4 language versions, depending on the nationalities of people of foreigners living in Slovakia. To sum up the areas of consultation we covered at the community center, as the cultural mediators mentioned earlier, the foreigners are mostly interested in the residence or in the residence procedure. So this is the first topic of our consultancy. Being awarded a residence and cancellation, or the terms and conditions, the identification documents they need. In connection with this procedure, we do not represent them. We only provide consultancy, but sometimes they would like us to represent them, but our capacities unfortunately do not allow us to represent them at the immigration police, etc. The nationality is also another topic, but this is probably specific for Nitra and the Iranians who are living here in Nitra, and because the period for registration is expired, and that's why we dealt with the nationality and citizenship. And another problem are primary schools and the mandatory education in Nitra. Another is the driver's license. So this is also what the foreigners have to deal with, and other things.
Napríklad nárok na rôzne sociálne
For instance, the entitlement to different social benefits, the right to be informed about the restrictions in emergency situations like the pandemic situation, then postponement of repayment of bank loans, official procedure for receiving a building, buying a property, etc., social security contributions, etc., local taxes, etc. So these are the most contacted offices and institutions in Nitra. This is the police directorate of Nitra, labor office, social affairs and family of Nitra, then the circuit office, the trade department of the circuit office of Nitra responsible for issuing trade licenses, then health insurance institutions, and the municipality of Nitra. Like I have already mentioned, in addition to the first contact point, we also offer the courses of the Slovak language for beginners in cooperation with the organization Marina, with the foundation Marina. We have already the fourth course, which is online. The normal course, which was designated for foreigners, started in autumn in 2019. It was not online. Now from spring 2020, it is online. All the participants in these courses stated what's important for them: to look for information regarding their residents. These courses were free of charge. Now the COMIN Center is being financed by the municipality of Nitra, of our town. So this online course of the Slovak language is not free of charge. It has to be paid for, and the foundation called Marina is not only for foreigners in Nitra, but it helps all the foreigners living in Slovakia. Then to raise awareness about the topics related to migration and integration. Once again, in cooperation with the Foundation Marina, we organize several workshops in Nitra at several departments, at universities, etc., where people could be informed, and the students of these universities as well, about the topic related with migration and integration, the integration of foreigners. Then we also offer volunteer programs and leisure activities. These are the most important volunteer programs currently being in place. They took place, but due to the pandemic situation and the current restrictions, it was not so successful in terms of the number of participants, but I hope that we will have the opportunity to continue with them in the future, because we would really like help our foreigners. And the last point is the social inclusion of foreigners in the strategic documents of the city of Nitra. We carried out an analysis of the migration and the possibilities of integration in Nitra, together with the Center for the Research of Ethnicity and Culture. It was organized in Nitra. We dealt the topic of the social inclusion of foreigners, and I hope that it will be included in the strategic documents of the city of Nitra, because we would like to include urban development, education, culture, arts, sports, and in these materials. Thank you very much for your attention. I will be more than happy to answer any of your questions. This was the community center called COMIN.
Ďakujeme veľmi pekne, Vierka.
Thank you very much, Viera. Thank you. Thank you all for your presentations. and thank you for your work, for what you do in this field. Now, we will switch from Slovakia to Austria, and we are very happy that we will also have some examples from abroad, from Prague and from Vienna, because the information materials of these two cities, Prague and Vienna, were an inspiration for us when we were preparing this capacity conference. Now I would like to give the floor to Mr. David Beraha from the city of Vienna. Mr. Beraha concerns with or deals with the organization of workshops and meetings related to the volunteer programs and the integration of foreigners. So, Mr. Beraha, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Hello. Thank you for inviting me here, and thank you for putting me forward. I have to leave at 1 o'clock, and I was not sure if I will be able. So I'm happy that I can talk now. I will try to show you the presentations. I never did this before, so maybe with a little luck. I hope you see something. I work for the City of Vienna in the department Integration and Diversity. We are about 60 employees, and I want to talk about communicating in times of social distancing. This will be the focus of my short presentation. I can switch. I hope you see the presentation. I can give you the summary at the beginning. Digitalization has made great advances for our department. Point. So I go to the subtopics. First thing the City of Vienna did when the COVID-19 pandemic came to Austria and Vienna was to give general information about the COVID-19 related subjects on their homepage. The homepage of the City of Vienna is in German, so the large version of it is in German, but you can find reduced, shorter versions of it in English and in the two other most common languages, which are BCS, which is Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian, and in Turkish. So this homepage of Vienna is already in 4 languages, and the information that were needed to know for the about the COVID-19 pandemic were in these 4 languages as well. Then my apartment launched the Corona Info Service in April 2020, which is a service for newly immigrated Viennese or people who don't speak German too well to submit COVID-19 related questions in 24 languages. Why 24 languages? We are 60 co-workers in our department, and we all together speak 24 languages. And questions about the restrictive measures, about social distancing, about self-isolation, quarantine, infectiousness, and at the moment, more questions about the possibilities of testing and vaccination. The questions can be submitted via email or by telephone call, and we try to give the answers within 24 hours. We are reached from Monday. We can be reached from Monday to Friday, from 9 to 4 p.m. And the promotion of this info service was via homepage, newsletter, social media, articles in mother tongue, print and online media. Another thing we did was to put the information events for newly immigrated Viennese in virtual rooms, so to offer them in rooms like this one here, like Zoom or WebEx. The City of Vienna started to offer information events for newly immigrated people about 15 years ago, or maybe 13 years ago. The aim was that the people get the most possible information about their new life in Austria and in Vienna. And the topics of these information are about profession, about recognition of qualifications from abroad, about residence matters, about living together, about mentality, about healthcare, education, housing, about working environment, business startups. So this moved from the physical rooms into the virtual world. Likewise, what our department is offering, event series and information series and workshop series that we are offering, moved to the virtual spaces as well, like Zoom and WebEx, like the thing we do here. And these event series are in German. For example, about intercultural communication and conflict management, about religious freedom, asylum law, flight and trauma in times of COVID-19, or extremism and fanatism. We have a small online seminar team that organizes this, which didn't exist before the first lockdown in March 2020. Then with a big wave of refugees coming to Europe and Vienna 2015 and 2016, we started with conversation cafes. These are open coffee shop-like rooms where people who want to improve their language skills, their German language skills, can come and talk to German native speakers, and through conversation learn the language better. This also moved from real places to virtual rooms. There about 3 or 4 times a week, our department is organizing such coffee shops, conversation cafes, and up to 6 persons can talk to one native speaker and practice the German language. Then you see the principle, all the things that we used to do physically in physical rooms moved to virtual rooms. We have all the networking and information exchange events we used to organize are now organized in virtual rooms. For example, a group of Turkish-speaking women or a group of Arabic-speaking women are doing the things they did before in the virtual rooms. It's not the same, but it's better than nothing. So this can be said always. It was better to stay connected and to communicate with the people in physical rooms, but for us, it's like the help to stay in contact, not to lose the contact during this social distancing in the pandemic. Our department the Viennese Department for Integration and Diversity has a Facebook page, which is called Start Wien. And on this Facebook page, we started with spring 2020 to give lectures from experts, to give information to the foreigners in the city or to the foreign-speaking Viennese about different fields like medicine, education, law, and economy in different languages. Those expert talks or live talks are broadcasted live via the Facebook page and published also there. So there was, for example, a lecture about school start and Corona in Arabic, in Bosnian, Croatian, and Serbian, and in Turkish. Then there was one about business founding and business support in Vienna in Turkish. Then general information about COVID-19 in Turkish. The presentation of the Vienna Business Agency in Bosnian, Croatian, and Serbian, and so on. These are only examples. So we try to give the information that the people need, be it actual information about COVID-19, but life goes on, so it goes there the other information as well that we would give to them if there wasn't a pandemic. And last but not least, we try to stay in contact with the people we already know, or we met during the social distancing in the last year in the digital world. We try to stay in contact with them via email, telephone, SMS, and other messenger services. That's what we always did, but in the time before, and we hope in a time that soon will come, again, we will talk to them personally also. And this is about it. So you see, we did a digitalization. The digitalization in our department improved very much, and it wouldn't have improved that much if the pandemic wouldn't have come to Europe. So thank you. This is all of my presentation.
Veľmi pekne pánovi Berahovi z mesta Viedeň.
Thank you very much, Mr. Beraha from Vienna. When I invited you to this conference, I asked you to present innovative forms of communication with foreigners during the pandemic, but I had really no idea that in 2020 you came up with so many ways how to replace the personal contact in an online environment. And we will move on to the example from Prague, presented by Mr. Janoušek, who will share with us how the city of Prague communicates with its citizens and what forms they employ.
Dobrý den, zdravím vás, děkuji, doufám, že mě slyšíte a já jdu rovnou.
Good afternoon, I will share my screen with you. And here I will talk about the awareness of foreigners in Prague. It is a strategic target, and I will also talk about the institutional context and stakeholders. Of course, our main information channel, our communication channels, and the good practices and targets for the future. So the awareness, as I mentioned earlier, is our top priority in the integration of foreigners in accordance with the concept of integration, governmental concept of integration. From our point of view, awareness includes rights and obligations, general awareness, some available services, also some active, some public affairs in Prague and in the entire Czech Republic. Of course, the goals of awareness are clear as well. So it's being independent and familiar with the rights and duties, engaged in social in public affairs. So this participation of citizens in the public affairs is crucial, and the relationships between the majority and the foreigners is really vital, and foreigners need to know how to engage and how to participate in public affairs. And recently we've seen that among the communities the interest is growing, the interest of participating is growing, but of course they need information how to start. The informational context is very complex. So there are many channels on the governmental level in Prague. It's the municipality of Prague. There are many NGOs as well, and the integration organization, and there are many others active in boroughs or at the national level, and the information need to be shared, and we have to find new ways of communication and cooperation and synergies, and put emphasis also on the financial support from the ministry. Now I will move on to our communication channels and means of communication. We have a booklet available. Prague is our home, and it's just quite short. Includes information about life situations, about Prague, some contact details, etc. And it copies the contents of the Prague, the Grand Metropolis for everyone, which is also a Facebook page. I would like to underscore also the Prager app developed and maintained by the Integration Center Prague, which corresponds with the booklet I mentioned, but it's also it's more interactive, so to speak. There are many maps and practical information in more languages, and it's a digital tool, digital guide to help the foreigners. In terms of awareness, the cooperation with the boroughs and the Integration Center is also crucial, and NGOs as well. There are many of them in Prague, and the intercultural work is growing in importance, and this work needs to be also part of, needs to be one of the means how to integrate this in the offices as well, and a subsidy scheme how to support activities and NGOs. It's also worth mentioning, also considering the intercultural work, so drafting some materials. This is a sample from our booklet about Prague. So there are 5 languages available. We have English, Ukrainian, Russian, and Vietnamese. So this is Vietnamese on the screen. It's the organization about helping to prevent domestic violence, and so it's not only about integration. We are really talking or focusing on transportation, crisis situations, and many aspects of life. Here is a visual of the Prager app maintained by the Integration Center Prague, and we also financially contribute to the maintenance of the app. And this is the main activity of ours: Facebook page, Prague, the Grand Metropolis for everyone. Launched in 2000, the website launched in 2018, in Facebook in 2019. We have more than 5,000 followers. These are channels intended for foreigners, especially. But on the website, experts can also find some materials, and the majority as well. There are some stories about foreigners. And here is the content of Prague Metropolis for everyone, also available in 5 languages, the same as for the booklet. And there is a large amount of information available considering residents, check classes, and some contact details for NGOs. And we are also talking or focusing on public affairs, maybe practical information. And these are not only so-called integration actions, but a regular what's happening in the city, because we do not want to exclude only some topics. We want to inform about what's happening, what's new in Prague, also integration and projects in the spotlight. The Facebook also has some challenges. it's not really easy to grasp how to work with it. We are also now moving our website to a better environment. So there are some technical difficulties which are not related only to the transition of the website. Awareness is, of course, the key to be shared on other platforms. So the awareness of NGOs, municipalities, etc., raises, and so we could employ more channels. Here is one of the visuals for, and here you can see the multilingualism of this website. This is a sample from our flyer, where you can also find some basic information. Here is a print screen picture. Here are some print screen pictures with the tabs. What do you divide it according to what foreigners need to deal with. So we are trying to systematically develop the structure. We have some events and news as well. And this is our Facebook group, where we share the content published on the website or intended only for Facebook. And so these are good also examples of good practices. On the right side, you see that the borough Prague 11 or district Prague 11 has its own Facebook page for the Vietnamese community. So this means the districts some of the districts are very innovative, and the Facebook communication is really crucial to them also. And the Vietnamese community in this district is very strong, and they are also used to communicate via Facebook. So this is also one of the good examples I wanted to share with you. Good practices, and our goals for the future is sharing the best practices among stakeholders, NGOs, the district, Ministry of Interior Affairs. They all create materials, they provide information. Considering one more thing, considering the pandemic, what was really crucial was our website, because if we share the information only through NGOs, we translated all this information in on our website and make them accessible to the districts of Prague, because there was a large amount of information, and also the translation was quite exhausting. But it was proved that the synergy was really good. We also work with the Innovation Center, which creates a COVID handbook, which informs on the latest restrictions or measures. We certainly want to develop the online tools and make it available, also make the offices also make them online and have some booklets and materials available for the foreigners to be accessible to the broadest in the broadest way possible. We also are inspired by Marginal, for instance. This is because they are also really good in raising awareness. The question is whether we will be able to launch our own information campaign or create some welcome package for the newcomers. I think this will really help us. So that was it from Prague. So thank you very much for your attention, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Ešte raz poďakovať všetkým našim panelistom a panelistkám za to, že zdieľali s nami dobré praxe, ktoré verím, že budú aj pre iné samosprávy inšpiráciou. Žiaľ, nemáme už zvyšný čas na to, aby sme zodpovedali dve otázky, ktoré nám prišli na slajdo, ale ako sme už hovorili včera, tak my si tie otázky a hlavne odpovede na ne spíšeme a budeme ich s vami zdieľať cez sociálne siete. Takže ešte raz vám všetkým veľmi pekne ďakujem. Nás čaká ešte záver dnešného programu a síce časť o výzvach a odporúčaniach, ako ďalej v oblasti integrácie cudzincov na miestnej úrovni. Ja o chvíľu odovzdám slovo mojej kolegyni Baši Mešovej do štúdia v Bratislave. Medzi tým by som vás, milé účastníčky a účastníci, chcela poprosiť o vyplnenie takého krátkeho prieskumu ohľadne tejto konferencie, tak ja poprosím réžiu, aby nám ho zazdieľala a budem veľmi rada, ak vyjadríte váš názor. Nech sa páči.